France just finished the group stage with a goal differential of +8, and nobody else left in the 2026 World Cup is even close. Germany barely survived their group, and people are already asking out loud if they're still a real soccer superpower. Most predictions you're hearing right now are guesses based on reputation, built off names that sounded right back in December when the draw was made. This one isn't built that way. This is what the actual numbers are saying about who wins this tournament, and the numbers are already telling a very different story than the preseason odds did. Every World Cup, people pick the same way. Biggest stars, richest history, loudest fan base, Brazil because they're Brazil, Argentina because of the name on the back of one shirt. Whoever has the flashiest front three gets the nod every single cycle. And every single cycle, a handful of those obvious picks go home early. World Cups aren't won on reputation, they're won in the 89th minute, in extra time, in a shootout when the crowd has gone quiet and all that's left is which team actually prepared for this exact moment, under these exact lights, against this exact opponent. So forget who should win this World Cup, forget who you'd have picked in May. Let's look at who's actually playing like a champion right now, based on what's already happened on the pitch over the last 3 weeks, because that's the only evidence that matters at this point in the competition. Before a ball was kicked, everyone already had their pick locked in. Pundits had their power rankings, bookmakers had their odds, and almost none of it accounted for what would actually happen once these teams stepped onto American, Mexican, and Canadian turf. That doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is the group stage that just finished, because it's the freshest, most relevant data set anyone has. France didn't just win their group, they obliterated it. 9 points from 9 matches, a goal differential of +8, and performances that looked less like a team finding form and more like a team that already knows exactly what it's doing. No other side left in this World Cup has put up scoring and defensive numbers anywhere near that. That's not a hot streak, that's a statement, delivered 3 times in a row against 3 different styles of opponent. Now, look at Germany. They scraped through their group on the back of results that needed other scores to go their way. And it's already got pundits openly questioning whether the badge still means what it used to mean on a football pitch. A famous name can carry a team in the eyes of broadcasters and sponsors. It can carry a short sales number. It cannot carry 11 players past a side that has simply been the better team for 3 straight matches. And right now, on the pitch, Germany has not been that team. If you've ever picked a World Cup winner because of a country's name instead of their actual results in front of you, you're making the exact mistake almost everyone is making right now with Germany specifically, and it gets even clearer the deeper you go into what actually separates contenders from pretenders at this stage. Here's what most fans get wrong about knockout football specifically. The team that lifts the trophy usually isn't the team with the best starting 11 on paper. It's the team that can lose a starter to injury or a suspension in the round of 16 and still field a side good enough to win the next match, and the one after that, and the one after that. This format has more knockout rounds than any World Cup before it, which means more cumulative fatigue, more yellow cards piling up towards suspension thresholds, and more chances for a thin squad to get quietly exposed before the final even arrives. One hamstring injury at the wrong moment and a so-called favorite can be finished before anyone even gets to see them in a final. So the real question isn't who has the best starting 11 on paper right now, it's who has a bench deep enough to start for half the other teams left in this draw without the quality dropping off a cliff. That's a much smaller list than the preseason favorites list, and it's the list that actually matters from this point forward. There's also a structural reason some federations have deeper benches than others, and it's worth understanding before the next knockout match kicks off. Countries with the strongest academy pipelines and the most competitive domestic leagues tend to produce multiple viable options at every position, not just one standout starter. That means when an injury hits in match 5 or 6, the coach makes a like-for-like swap instead of a downgrade, and that single difference has decided more than one World Cup in the past 2 decades. There's also a structural reason some federations have deeper benches than others, and it's worth understanding before the next knockout match kicks off. Countries with the strongest academy pipelines and the most competitive domestic leagues tend to produce multiple viable options at every position, not just one standout starter. That means when an injury hits in match 5 or 6, the coach makes a like-for-like swap instead of a downgrade, and that single difference has decided more than one World Cup in the past 2 decades. Attacking football fills highlight reels. Defense fills trophy cabinets every single time in tournament after tournament. Knockout football plays differently than the group stage. Teams sit different because one mistake ends the tournament instead of just costing a point. Games get tighter because both sides know exactly what's at stake every single minute. And with this many rounds in the bracket, more matches than ever before are heading to penalties, which means the stat that actually predicts who survives isn't goals scored, it's goals conceded. Think about how many best teams in tournaments past got knocked out by a side that simply refused to give anything up defensively for 90 minutes, then for 120, then in a shootout where nerve matters more than talent. It's not flashy. Nobody puts a clean sheet on a highlight reel the way they put a wonder goal on one. But it's the single most reliable pattern in this sport across decades of tournament football. This is the stat broadcasters never show you at halftime because it doesn't make for exciting television, but it's the one number that actually decides who's still standing in 2 weeks' time. And the pick is coming, so stay with this, because the next part is where the draw itself starts deciding outcomes before a single knockout match is even played.
Here's the part almost nobody factors into their prediction. It's not just how good a team is, it's who they have to go through to get there. Football history is full of genuinely great teams that got eliminated early simply because the bracket forced them against another genuinely great team far too soon, while a weaker side on the other half of the draw cruised through against opponents who were never built to test them. Meanwhile, an average team can ride a soft draw all the way to the final against an opponent who already burned their best performance days earlier, beating somebody else entirely. Best team in the tournament and World Cup winner are two completely different questions, and conflating them is exactly how most predictions go wrong every 4 years. The real question is who has the strongest combination of current form, squad depth, and a path to the final that doesn't force them through every single other contender along the way. Right now, very few teams check every one of those boxes simultaneously, and France is one of the only sides with both elite current form and a draw that isn't immediately brutal in the rounds directly ahead of them. One more factor before the actual prediction. Managers who've navigated a World Cup knockout stage before make noticeably different decisions under pressure than managers who haven't. Better substitution timing when legs start going in extra time. Smarter penalty taker selection based on who's actually mentally ready in that exact moment, not just who's the best finisher in open play. Knowing precisely who to rest in a dead group stage match so they're fresh for a knockout match 6 days later, instead of running a starter into the ground for a result that didn't even matter. This is the kind of judgment that doesn't show up in a stat sheet, but shows up every single time a tournament reaches its final week, when fatigue and pressure expose any coach who's never been through this gauntlet before. Pair that kind of tournament-specific managerial experience with a team's actual historical penalty shootout record, and you get a far clearer read on who survives a scoreless game deep into extra time than any amount of raw attacking talent could ever tell you on its own. So here's where this lands, based on everything that has actually happened on the pitch so far, not who should be good according to a preseason magazine cover. France has the most dominant group stage form of anyone left in this tournament. That +8 goal differential isn't matched by a single other contender still in the bracket, and that is the strongest single signal available right now 3 weeks into this competition. But form alone has never been enough to win a World Cup on its own. Depth, the draw, and defensive record all have to hold up too, match after match, round after round. And a team can look unstoppable in the group stage, only to unravel the moment the football gets genuinely difficult. That's exactly why Brazil matters so much in this conversation. They're not just a name with history attached, they're a team whose current squad depth and tournament pedigree put them in the smallest possible category of contenders who can match France on every single one of the criteria that actually decide knockout football. Right now, Brazil looks like the team most likely to be the real roadblock standing between France and the trophy, not whoever they happen to face in the final itself, because Brazil is the side whose depth, current form, and tournament experience most directly threaten everything France has built over the last 3 weeks.
France enters the knockout phase of the competition as the safest bet to conquer the tournament. Their continued success is built firmly upon three foundational pillars that separate them from the rest of the pack. First, manager Didier Deschamps commands unmatched squad depth. He possesses the ultimate luxury of what is essentially a cheat code roster. Their bench depth is incredibly strong, capable of fielding a second entirely competitive tournament team.
This provides them with a massive physical advantage as the grueling single elimination bracket inevitably progresses and wears other nations down. Second is the Mbappe factor. Kylian Mbappe enters the knockout phase in blistering form, actively chasing the prestigious Golden Boot. His explosive pace and clinical finishing are perfectly tailored to thrive in the wide-open, chaotic transitions of late-stage tournament football. Finally, France showcases undeniable tactical resilience. Having gone completely undefeated through their UEFA qualifying campaign and smoothly navigating a tricky group phase, Les Bleus know exactly how to manage extreme tournament pressure. The only teams that could ruin the party? While France remains the definitive favorite to win it all, two elite sides are highly capable of derailing their path to glory. Argentina, driven by a red-hot Lionel Messi, who is turning back the clock and breaking all-time World Cup scoring records. The defending champions are a massive threat. They possess an unmatched emotional and tactical grit that makes them exceptionally difficult to eliminate. Spain, built around the absolute technical mastery of Rodri and the undeniable creative spark of Lamine Yamal, they offer a completely different tactical challenge. Their suffocating possession game can systematically starve France's lethal attack of the ball. Ultimately, France's raw athleticism, tournament pedigree, and unparalleled squad depth give them the ultimate edge to claim their third star. So which is it? Are you picking France because the numbers actually back it up? Or are you still picking based on the name on the shirt and what it used to mean? Drop your pick below and we'll check back in after the round of 16 to see who actually got it right and who got caught betting on reputation instead of evidence.
Football doesn't lie. The blind spot does. Most people never see it. Now you do.